Hello, good morning, everyone. Dan the Glass Man here, and I'm at a location here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of my clients I've had for many years now. For I don't even know how long it's been. At least 3 to 5 years now, and pretty much throughout the year, about every other week, I come in and do a little bit of yard work, cleanup, and basically just general cleanup here. So I figured, this is the glass man's world. This is something that I do. I love to teach about how to garden, how to tend to your gardens and your yards, and how to get back to nature. So today we're gonna just be pulling all these weeds here and cleaning up all this stuff that's on the ground here and getting it all cleared up for them. So if this were my yard, I would actually keep all of this on the ground and let it just naturally compost back in and do its thing naturally. So it's all about getting back to nature and allowing the compost to go back to the nature, to the earth, and allow the topsoil to thrive, and having the beautiful biodiversity within the soil. But when you pick it all up and pull it all out, and you really don't allow for that growth in the topsoil and for the soil to really allow. Look at that. Got to get it by the root or it'll come back. So basically what I do, the type of yard work I do is, I don't know, I call it yard beautification. It's basically just cleaning up yards and doing it all by hand. So I'm not using a lot of really loud yard tools. I've noticed on YouTube there's a lot of people who do this sort of thing. They do videos where I guess their channels are monetized, so they just make a lot of money doing yard work, and the viewers and having the sponsorships and everything, they get paid through that. So they do like these free yard cleanups and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool, because there's a lot of individuals who, if they haven't cleaned up their yard, well, probably because they can't get to it for some reason. Either they're elderly, they physically aren't able to handle that kind of work. Being up and down on the knees it's pretty hard and tiring. That's why I bring the knee pads here. So I got some really cool Airwalk knee pads, some skate pads here. So basically I've been doing yard work for pay. I don't know. I think I started offering around 2015 on a website called nextdoor.com. And that website, I basically just posted up that I wanted to help individuals out with raking their leaves. And then I would bag them up, and I'd basically just haul them away. And then all those leaves I would turn into compost, which that's all I really wanted to do. I just wanted to get everyone's leaves. I didn't want to do a whole bunch of yard work and stuff. I just wanted to collect all the really good leaves on top of their grass and bag up all the leaves and just take it away. So I started offering that like years ago on nextdoor.com. And, you know, I was doing that for about $10 an hour. I figured, you know, that's some simple work. All I'm doing is taking a rake and then, you know, just going in, scraping off the top layer of leaves, raking it up, you know, not trying to get any sort of like animal waste or anything like that. Just, you know, I was hoping to just get nothing but leaves. And eventually those jobs, they ended up turning into more and more, and people started to offer to pay me more to do more, you know, and so now I get paid like $20 to $30 an hour. You know, some people give me $20 and then tips, and some people give me just straight up $30 an hour. And so it's really nice, you know, to be able to come out to help individuals who maybe they're not able to, they don't have the time, or they just physically can't be down on their hands and knees doing this. You know, and then the reason why I do this all by hand is because, you know, you want to get all that root up, because if you leave this in the ground, that becomes really hard, you know, and then it's I don't know, it hurts to walk on. They have animals out here, so it's really important that we get rid of all the foxtail, which is a grass with these burrs at the very ends of them. And when I find some, I'll show you what they look like. I pull them up right away, and then I get them out of the yard quick, because as soon as you grab them, they'll seed, and you don't want them to reseed back into the ground. Now, one of the best tricks that I learned on how to pull these, oh, here's one that you got to be real careful with. This is a real spiky right there. I don't know if you can see all them little tiny spikes in there, but you got to be careful with those. That's why gloves are essential. But what I've learned is you grab them by two hands like that, and you pull them and kind of pull them out sideways, and it will yank them out by the roots, you know, so you get all that root. And then if it breaks off the root ball, oh, here's some foxtail right there. That's a little bit of what foxtail looks like, sorta. We'll find some better foxtail to show you. But yeah, if the root breaks from the stem, then you just get your handy little root uprooter tool. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a yanking, and then they pull out just like that, right by the root. So I love being able to do it like this by hand, because then you're not just getting a weed whacker and chopping it or running it over with a rake. Like it really eliminates the weeds. Now, especially if you have like goat heads and foxtail, you really want to eliminate them and not just run them over with the lawnmower, because then all you're doing is blowing around all of the seed. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to pull all the seed out. So here's some more nightshade here. These nightshades, these things suck. They're like cousins to a tomato plant, but they got a lot of those little tiny burrs in them too. Really sharp. And I forgot my actual leather gloves today. I pulled them out and they're on the couch. I forgot to put them in the bag. I was so busy looking for my knee pads and my tools, my hand tools. I didn't know where I put them or where they were placed. And so I was running around all crazy trying to get out the door 30 minutes sooner than I was able to. And I forgot my gloves. But luckily I have these gloves, and they're like, these don't even match. I lost my black one, my North Face. These have the finger, you can use a cell phone, or they got the touch finger on it. So we're gonna pull all of this here by hand. And as I'm moving this, I'm noticing that some of the grass is actually coming back in. They do have some grass here, I can tell, but it's not watered, and I don't know if they really want to spend the money on watering the grass here, so they just want to keep it clear from the weeds. So they have a dog run here. And then they have a garden right back here behind me. It's a raised garden bed, as you can see. So they have a garden space back there. And then this area it used to be nothing but lawn. There's some old sprinkler systems still installed here. Alright, so I gotta be careful with my knee. Last week I was on my knee a little bit too much. Anytime that I have it up like this knee here and putting the weight on it, it was putting too much on the tendons. And last week my knee got really swollen, and I felt that there was something wrong with it for a minute, but it took a day to heal. I had to wear a brace for a day and limp around, which that wasn't fun. But then by the next day, I was limping around a little bit, and then by the evening time, I was pretty much good to go and all right. All right, so we've already cleared this whole section right here. That's quite a bit, but there's so much more to go. So one thing about doing these jobs, as most of you know, this is the Glassman's world that you're watching. So, I'm a glass blower, I'm a glass artist. But I do this on the side, and, to me, working in the yard, it is a form of art. Being able to know what's what and what to pull, what not to pull. What are edibles, what are not. What people consider weeds. Each individual client is different. Some clients are like, oh no, leave that. I love the flowering plants. Oh, here's a really good example. Here, let me move this one. Oops. Here, let me move this real quick. I want to show you this foxtail here. So, as you can see, this plant right here, this is a foxtail. It's basically a grass with these burrs, and when it dries up, it gets really yellow here. And we need to grab the whole thing, just like that, and then yank the root ball out. And if there's any still in there, you wanna get in there with your tool. I got a couple tools here that I use, and you wanna uproot that. We're gonna throw that in the bag right away because we don't want that in here. All right, see, you wanna make sure you pull the roots out to get rid of that. So these foxtails, these are seeds, and each one of these little things they'll pull out, and they'll just fall, like hundreds of them. They'll just fall everywhere. And then you'll just reseed your yard. So a lot of people just run them over with their lawnmowers. and just throw them everywhere. Or they'll get the weed whacker out and they'll just trim the whole thing. And they basically just seed. See, here's one right here trying to fall. And they just basically reseed the whole yard, not really thinking that they're just making themselves like 10 times as much of a job next year and the following years to come. So to really eradicate the weeds, you want to use, uprooting tools. Someone taught me this trick here. This is an amazing tool here. If you wanted to just come in and just chop the root out like that. This painter's scraping tool, oh my gosh, it's amazing. This is the one where you can scrape your roller off and clean it out. Real nice sharp edge. This used to have a better point, but I've used it so much. But you can go in there and just, chop the root out. Now you're not getting the whole point of the tap root, but you're pretty much getting that root and killing it. So if you wanted to do that, you can also do that. So there's cool little tricks. That trick, that's a really good tool for if you need to remove a lot of like foxtail and a lot of grass and stuff like that you don't want. Maybe you got some crabgrass growing. See, when I pull it, look at that taproot. Then I'm not chopping it and cutting it, allowing the taproot to maybe grow again. Alright, we got quite a bit more to go here on this front row, front edge. Lots of weeds, guys. Let's get some more of these. The nightshade here. So these nightshades, there's a little baby nightshades right here trying to come up. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to go in deep and just pull it out. Just like that. Oh, look at that. Look at all those roots. It's amazing, some of these plants, how they just root themselves in. So then a lot of this top cleanup is just leaves and pine needle. And what's nice about the pine needle is it comes up in handfuls real easily. And that helps to collect all the leaf with it. You see, you just pull all that back, you get that whole bottom layer of the pine needle, and all that leaf comes up with it. Now, like I said, I would personally keep all this topsoil covered with everything you see here and allow the moisture and everything to regenerate the soil here. But this isn't my yard. I just do what I'm asked to do. So I'm going to clean it up. Gonna bag it all and clean it up. So usually it takes me about an hour per bag to fill up each bag with when I'm pulling just weed. But when I'm picking up leaf too, like this, then I fill up the bags really quickly. And then also, as you can see, I'm just picking it up as I go. I'm not really raking. I'll do a general cleanup afterward, and we'll rake it all up too. But pretty much, I'm just gonna clean it all up by hand here. because I'm gonna have to pick it up by hand anyway when I rake it. And I figure since I'm right here, I can just lift it up, put it in the bag real quick, and it's done. And I just gotta watch the corners for spiders, because I don't like spiders. I've never really, I don't know if I've ever been bitten by a really bad spider. Like, we got brown recluse out here. I'll get more foxtail. I gotta get rid of that. And we always have black widows hiding in the corners. So we gotta be careful with the black widows and the brown recluse out here. You know, but other than that, I just find them creepy, and I don't like spiders. I think my wife finds that funny or cute or something. She recently found out that I don't like spiders. I guess I have a fear of spiders. I don't know if it's a fear. I don't like them. They're creepy. Alright, we're just going to top off this bag here. I'm so glad I brought these other gloves. I keep them in my bag with me. These are just extra gloves for when it gets cold sometimes. So most of these come out all by the root. Out of like 10 of those, only one didn't come up right there. So then I gotta go in with the root digger here. And just go in deep along the side of it. And you just go down in there and start yanking it like that as you're holding it and pulling it up. Oh yeah, I had to make sure to stay on that knee. Keep that knee down. And keep this knee bent. I'm gonna have to go get another bag here. Well, there's a big old root right there. Just sticking out. I guess I missed that one. Now, one thing that I love about this, you know, as most of you know, I'm a glass blower. when I'm blowing glass, I'm pretty much just stuck in my own little dungeon by myself. You know, I don't have anyone sitting there with me, keeping me company, hanging out. So usually I just watch videos while I'm blowing glass, or I'll go live so I can have some sort of company, be able to talk to people or whatever, and just to share what I do. And this here, this is a way of allowing me to be able to get out into nature and being able to enjoy the sun, the beautiful sky. I don't know if you can hear all the birds in the background. Let's listen. hear how beautiful that sounds? It's all the birds. There's so many trees all around here. It's a nice neighborhood that I'm working in. I don't know if you guys just heard that boom. I was trying to give you guys the tranquility of nature. And then boom. I don't know if you heard that. We always get booms here. We're right next to the Kirtland Air Force Base. They're always doing weird, mad scientist stuff over there. But I don't know if you were able to hear how beautiful it sounds out here. And getting back to nature and just being able to listen to the beautiful sounds of the birds and everything here. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to be able to do on the side of blowing glass. Just being able to get out here with nature. Be out in the sun, out in the elements. So it's one reason why I do this. Is it helped me to reconnect with nature. To directly get back to nature. For me to personally be in touch with nature. And a lot of people don't do that enough. A lot of people choose to stay disconnected from nature. Or they won't give themselves the time to be within nature. You know, a lot of individuals that I know spend most of their day working a 9-to-5 job. And, you know, we got 24 hours in the day. So they're working a 9-to-5 job, so that's an 8-hour day, right? Plus travel time, so you always got to take into consideration the travel time. So it's at least an hour or two. So, you know, 9 to 10 hours a day they're away from their home, from work. Usually most people sleep about 8 hours. A lot of people sleep longer than that. Very little people sleep only 4 to 5 hours, like individuals like myself. And so, you know, you got already 9 to 10 hours away from work, plus about, you know, 8 to 10 hours away for sleep. That's already 20 hours that you're away, you know, 16 to 20 hours that you're away, and you only got a 24-hour cycle. So you only give yourself 4 hours in the day, and how much of that time is spent in nature every day? You know, so knowing that, I make sure that I work, you know, between 2 to 4 hours every day to be out here in nature. And then plus the walk time, you know, I walked over here today. I didn't catch a bus. There's no bus lines. It's pretty much just right down the way, but it's kind of a far walk. Had to go from Louisiana to San Pedro, San Mateo, San Pedro in between. But yeah, so I get my exercise in and I be able to get reconnected with nature. And that's one of the beautiful things that I love about being out here and being able to do this. And to physically touch the earth here. Well, I guess I got my gloves on, but you know, you get the point. Not all of them pull out. See, that first one didn't, but that second one did. So, one thing I noticed today is we got a lot of clouds in the sky. But I noticed that they're all man-made. You know, all the aerosol canvassing that they've been doing. And recently they've admitted to cloud seeding here in New Mexico, actually, in the Four Corners region, and that they were during the time of the what was that fire called? Oh my gosh, the biggest fire that we just recently had here in New Mexico, the Hemet's Peak fire, right? And that fire, they were helping to put it out and fight it by adding aluminum sulfide into the air, into the sky or the clouds, in order to cloud seed, to create clouds and to create ice crystals and be able to cool off the atmosphere up in the sky. And yeah, so they finally admitted to being able to do this and how they were doing it with the aluminum sulfide. And then last winter we had some of the biggest winter storms ever on the West Coast into Utah, Colorado. You know, Texas got snow, and we're talking like 30 feet of snow, like some ridiculous inches, some ridiculous feet. You know, the 3-story cabins completely buried in snow. People stuck in their cabins too. I would bet to say there's still individuals stuck in those cabins and maybe not have survived, or some probably are surviving still. They have enough food and water. They got enough snow to create water. And if they have a stockpile of food in their cabins, then they may be all right. But I'm sure there are some individuals who didn't make it. And that's a sad thing. Oh. All right, we're about a quarter way through with this yard here. On this section of the yard, there's a whole bunch of, I don't know if you can see all the way on the other side over there, but there is a whole ton of foxtail out there. All right, I'm gonna take a water break real quick. I'm gonna reposition you over here in the shade. You guys are gonna get a little bit of a far distant shot here. So I don't know how long this is going to take. I have to keep remembering to get on this knee here though. It's so, I'm so natural with getting on this other knee, putting my weight and balance on it. So I feel off balance on my right knee. But that's probably why my right knee has issues, because I use it more often. It doesn't work so well with one hand. You gotta always do it with two. But this hand pulling does get tiring. And the sun's starting to come out a lot right now, so it's getting pretty hot here. You know, what's interesting is we got all these chems covering the skies right now, all the aerosol canvassing. And yet, that sun's still penetrating through. That heat being held in. I don't know if you guys have noticed that before, but they say they're helping with this cloud seeding and everything. They're helping to cool down the earth, right? The surface of the earth. But really what they're doing is they're creating a layer of aerosols that when the sun heats up through, all the that coverage of those aerosols hold in the heat down into the you know, to the earth. So it's not helping to cool it down with the cloud coverage. It's actually helping to heat up the surface of the earth. So I don't know if you've noticed how hot it's been recently, or if you've even looked into the UV light and the intensity of the UV rays coming off the sun in the last year, recent months. But there's a lot more UV light coming through. So I don't know if this plasma screen that they're covering the sky with, if it's actually intensifying it. You know, like if you don't clean your windshield, right, and it's all full of like this, like a film of whatever, just dirtiness, and the sun shines on it, you get that really white haziness on there, and it's hard to see through. And that's what they've been doing, is they're covering up our sky, so we don't get the natural UV lighting of the sun. We get a more harmful UV rays coming through, and we don't get the good vitamin D that we used to from the sun now. We're getting just a lot of harmful UV lights. And you know, recently people have been able to see the northern lights, the aurora borealis, like all the way down as far south as here in New Mexico. It's ridiculous. But people aren't putting two and two together yet. I guess people are still trying to learn their ABCs, and they don't know how to do math yet. But it's pretty obvious how connected everything is. You know, the one thing that I'm grateful for is that the client here isn't just spraying their yard heavily with a bunch of Roundup and things like that. You know, that they're actually eradicating their weed problem with, you know, just all natural way done by hand. Oh man, These gloves are not good for the nightshade. I don't have the proper gloves today. I didn't bring my gloves. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not in recent years on how, they're talking about how they're doing this cloud seeding and helping to cool off the earth, but it's just getting hotter and hotter. The water's evaporating out of Lake Mead and Lake Superior a lot faster than ever before. Even though we've had this record snowfall and snowpack, and it doesn't make sense that we're hardly getting any of it back. It could be that they're just draining it out elsewhere, and also it's just evaporating out too. Ooh, heat's kicking in here. I'd say it's about 80, but feels like 90. A UV light. I bet if we check the UV in Albuquerque today, it'd be pretty intense. It's like microwaves coming in and heating us up. And I love this painter's tool. This thing works so handy. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep y'all here with me for the whole duration of this. I just wanted to share a little bit of what I do on the side. Most people, they know me as Dan the Glass Man, but I also do this kind of work on the side. I do yard cleanups and beautification, and helping with different individuals around locally. But I don't really offer this up. I'm not trying to find new clients or anything. My calendar's pretty booked up, and if I'm not doing this, then I have more time on the torch. But this does give me the opportunity to be out in nature, to get back to nature, to get reconnected with nature. A lot of people are feeling off these days with the Schumann frequency and a lot of pressure, a lot of frequency, energy, and vibration that is throwing them off. And what it really takes is really reconnecting with nature and being able to become one with nature once again, to where you understand that we basically are nature, all humans. We have a spiritual body, spiritual connection, but we have a natural connection as well. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We all go back to the earth, our material human form, whereas the spirit goes elsewhere, depending on your karma and how you situated yourself in this lifetime, and what who and what you chose to serve in this lifetime will then allow you or prescribe you your next lifetime and things like that. Whatever, you always be dealt what you always be served what you're dealt. We always got airplanes flying above here. I think they're pilots in training. We got Kirtland Air Force Base here. We have the International Sunport, or our airport here in Albuquerque. So one thing that I wish also that the clients here would do would take all this refuse, and instead of putting it in the trash can, to put it back into compost. You know, they have a lot of area here in their yard that they could really create a beautiful compost pile and have a lot of beautiful soil for years to come. You know, especially right now, soil is worth the value of gold pretty much. You know, it's you know, especially like they call it black gold, right? You know, all the soil and compost, all the natural stuff. And all this here, all this refuse can easily be composted. You know, some people do a thing called compost in place, where they weed and then they just drop it like that and they just leave it. You know, they just weed it and leave it just like that. Composting in place, but my clients want their yard picked up and clean, so we'll just remove all this good material for compost. This could be black gold, it could be. And if I had the space and if I had a vehicle, I would be taking this with me all the time. Hey, hello. How you doing today? Yeah. Okay. I could let them know. Yeah, not a problem. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, well, I'm sure you could still do that, but I'll let them know as you're planning to finish that. Right. Oh yeah, because their dog. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. All right. Well, I'll let them know. All right. So these weeds here, these are all dried out. This stuff, it gets so crispy and hard to pull. So I'm just gonna come in here and get it by the root like that. That's the cool thing about this painter's tool, is being able to just come in and scrape it out like that when you need to on those areas where, you know, some of these weeds are just so dried out, they're not going to pull out by the root. It's just going to break, you know. Then you're going to have a hard stem, so might as well just come through and get right underneath. The only thing about this is that it disturbs the topsoil, and so if any of the sod or the grass is going to come back, you know, this could damage it a little bit. But this is all just dirt, and that's why the weeds are drying out, because there's no moisture out here. I don't think they water this at all ever. I would keep it wet, even if there were weeds. I'd keep it a little bit moist, or make sure that the rainwater would run off into the area here, and not just on the paving stone and the rock above. because then you have potential chance for the weeds to grow there, which I'm always weeding out the flagstone there. You know, maybe that's a project that we can work on and move their rain gutters to bring it out this way. I'll bring that up to them. So, and I guess the neighbor behind us is a nice lady. I just met her for the first time last time I was here. You know, like I said, I've been doing this yard for years. And let me get back on my right knee. I keep forgetting. And for the first time, I met her the last time I was here, and she's really nice. Has a beautiful yard, compost, garden, everything going. She has like several compost piles, which is awesome. I wonder if she would want any of this for compost. I should ask. Because then that would save space in my clients' garbage cans. You know, 2 bags, 3 bags full of these big old 40-gallon bags. And it takes up a lot of space. And I'll have 3 bags full here in just a moment. It says started at 8:30. I'm not sure what time it is. We've been running for about an hour now. So I guess it's about 9:30. It was supposed to be touchable. Well, I don't know if they are. Oh yeah, 9:47. All right, so almost 10 o'clock. So hour and a half. I'll probably do another hour and a half here and just work on finishing up this yard. So as you can see, an hour and a half, and I've only gotten almost half of it done. And the big weeds have pretty much been pulled. All of this is just smaller and smaller, so it's gonna take a lot more time and effort to get each little one up. And if they weren't so dry, oh, that's good. Because sometimes this size comes out a lot easier than the bigger ones that are not fully tapped in with their roots. But sometimes, because they're so small, they're a little bit tougher. You want to see what it looks like so far? I don't know if I can turn this around or not. Oh. Let me take my glove off and then I'll be able to turn this around. Alright, so we got all this area clear here so far. And as you can see, we have that much more to go. So we're almost at the halfway point. This right here, where the sprinkler system is, that's the halfway point right there. So I guess we've done about a third of the yard in about an hour's time. And that's pretty good. And we'll get the rest of this done here. It's a beautiful day. Even though it's covered in chemtrails, it is hot. It should be nice and cool, or a lot cooler than it actually is. But if you live in New Mexico or in Albuquerque, today may be a good day to see how those work, how they spray, how they keep going back and forth all day, and totally just cover the sky with these lines, which are left behind from the airplanes. And then those lines, they eventually just spread out and turn the sky into like an overcast sky, even though it's not actually any sort of moisture. And then when we do have real clouds that roll through, and the moisture should drop, well, what happens is the lingering aerosol fumes that are left behind, they stay. You know, they've been spraying for so long that it's just now over the entire like northern hemisphere. I don't know how bad it is in the south, but definitely the northern hemisphere is completely covered. And I know that there's many countries now besides the US that have this project going on. Project Bluebeam, and you know, with the whole canvassing and turning it into a plasma screen so they can put imagery into the sky soon. You know, and it's going to be really weird and completely not in touch with reality, not in touch with nature. It's going to be completely unnatural. I mean, the skies that we see daily right now are already unnatural. And it's sad because there's not anything that we can really do. You know, I don't know how we stop them from spraying the way that they do spray. You know, many of us speak up on this, but yet, and I mean, and people like go to Congress, they go to the senators, they talk to the people that they're supposed to be talking to. And these individuals, they're so, you know, out of touch with what's going on that they have no idea. They just think that it's whatever they've been told it is, and that it's okay, that they're cloud seeding and it's helping to cool the environment, the atmosphere and everything. But if you look at statistics, if they looked at statistics, they would be able to easily determine that it's still heating up. The surface of the planet is still heating up. And we got fake activists like Greta Thunberg telling us this and that, and you know, just a bunch of actors over there getting paid to be part of the whole World Economic Forum and to sell us on a big old lie on what's really going on, and you know how, you know, they're not going to tell us they're creating this whole global warming or climate change now is what they call it. You know, in the 80s, they were concerned that we were going to go into back into the ice ages. I don't know if you guys remember any of that. I don't know how old any of my viewers really are. But, you know, back in the 80s, they were concerned about we were going to go back into the ice ages. It was going to get colder and colder. And then they heated up the planet. Ta-da! Just like that. And now they're saying, oh no, now we're concerned that it's going to get too hot. Now we're going into global warming. I mean, climate change. And they got to come up with different names or titles of these events or movies or whatever, so then people can, you know, they can basically buy into them, you know, get sold into this lie, right? Yeah. That one was big. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are really paying attention, you can put two and two together. It's really easy to see how it's all connected. All of it. It's all connected. But everyone's being disconnected, so we're not all connected anymore. Like the plots and the ploys, those are all connected, but the people are so distracted and disconnected. so out of touch with nature that you would not even know the difference between what aerosol cloud looks like compared to a real cumulus cloud, you know, or what an overcast sky would look like with the real clouds compared to these just the aerosol canvassing. You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys hear what I'm saying? All right, well, I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of what I do on the side of my glass blowing and my music and everything that I do. I may do some more of these videos. If you like this kind of stuff, go on ahead and let me know. Comment below. And tell me if this is something that you want to check out. If this is good, like ASMR, you know. Some people like this on YouTube. They sit here watching videos on people cleaning up yards, you know, for hours and hours. I've done it. I've seen videos, strange videos where, you know, a person will be cleaning up and then they got to call the cops because, you know, the reason why the yard needed to be cleaned up was because the individual wasn't alive anymore and able to do so. And that's a sad thing. You know, we've had a lot of individuals recently like that who we've just lost, and you know, they don't know why, they don't know what's going on. And you know, a lot of individuals stop getting having their family check on them throughout this whole last 3 years or so, since 2019. And you know, the world's completely different now and way disconnected in a very strange, interesting way, devious way. You know, the whole creating the 6 feet apart thing. They must know that the connection of our heart chakras will need to be at least 6 feet in order for our heart chakras to connect to one another. The energy, vibration, and frequency of our heart chakras emits out to 6 feet. And if we're 6 feet away from one another, we've completely been disconnected from those frequencies, energies, and vibrations from one another. And that was done on purpose. That was done by design. This whole matrix is all done by design. All of it. You guys think it's something else going on. It's just all an illusion of what it really, really is and what they're really, really doing. And just keeping us disconnected. That's the main thing. They're keeping us disconnected. And they're allowing a lot of the generations to be removed before this knowledge is even shared. You know, because if they can remove a generation or two, they can reprogram the next generation so easily. You know, it's what everyone right now has been done. They've all been programmed into the whole 9-to-5 jobs, or no one is connected with their own yards, and they can't do this on their own, and they don't get back to nature, and they don't have the correct vibrational frequency in order to help them throughout this vibrational shift, this energetic shift that we're going through, that our planet is going through right now, and how it's been affecting individuals, you know, affecting their nerves. People are on edge these days. It's hurting them, causing migraines and headaches and body aches, and you know, people not understanding where is this all coming from. You know, there's a few individuals that I watch online, and they talk about how just, you know, going barefoot and stepping on on the grass, connecting with the earth, hugging a tree, getting those natural ions from other parts of nature, and being able to rejuvenate your own frequencies and being able to reconnect and hone back in, so you're not so in a detanglement of it all. And just getting back to the natural frequencies of the universe, of the earth, of Creator. I believe it was Nikola Tesla, who, and maybe it was Einstein, who spoke on how, the only way we're going to understand a lot of the universe is we won't be able to understand it until we can start thinking in energy, frequency, and vibration. And once we can understand that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, then we can understand the universe and how it was created. The Creator, through the vibrations, the natural vibrations of the universe, of what the waters held, the memories of the waters, the natural memories of the waters. It's all about getting back to nature here on this talk today. I don't got much else to really share with y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go so I can save my battery and be able to use my phone and listen to some music while I'm doing this, so I'm not just talking to myself here. But I do appreciate those of you who tune in and watch this later on. I know I didn't have any live viewers or participants today, but I do appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel, checked out the Glassman's World, and everything that I have to offer and share with you here, whether it's fun or whether it's serious, But I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I send you my love and my blessings. I'm going to continue enjoying this day out here in nature and helping out my client here with getting their yard beautified and back in order. So you guys have a beautiful and awesome, what's today? Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? I don't even know. If it's Tuesday, happy Taco Tuesday. If it's Monday, happy Taco Monday. All right. We'll talk about it later. Bye.